Yo, what's going on? In this video, I want to discuss my thoughts, my first impressions on Fallout 76, and I want to give my reasons on why it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. So stay tuned.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long.
If you want to join a community of mature PS4 gamers so you can play with other mature gamers like yourself and me, then go to patreon.com/Jay Cartere to find out more information and join today. I will see you there. Yo, what's going on? I'm Jay Cartere from growonyoutube.com, teaching you how to be better. And this isn't going to be a video saying how Fallout 76 is great and it's the best game and you should go pick it up. And it isn't a video saying how Fallout 76 is the worst game of the year. It's a broken, terrible mess and you should definitely not get it. If you've played the game and you're enjoying it, I'm happy for you. If you haven't played the game, then this is really who the video is for, in order to kind of give you my experience of playing the game and also talk about the overblown nature of a lot of the content going on out there that I've seen from the game's launch. So let me talk about my experience of Fallout 76 and how I plan to review it. So I heard about Fallout 76, I don't even remember. I don't even remember when it was. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but I was excited for Fallout 76 because I had previously played another survival game on my channel called Ark, and I've built a following around that. A lot of people like that game and they were excited for Fallout 76, as was I, as I like the Fallout franchise. I'm a big fan of Bethesda games, and I knew that this was going to be a Fallout game set in a multiplayer world focused on open world survival, which to me seemed like they was going to do a casual version of the survival games that we know and love. Now, what I experienced in Fallout 76 in my less than 10 hours of playing, I have to give you that disclaimer. I haven't played it for more than 10 hours. I'm not sure of the exact amount of time I've played it, so that's why I'm not qualified to do a full review, and that's why I'm not doing one as of yet. But in my experience of playing the game, it doesn't feel like a great survival game. If that's what they were going for, it just feels like Fallout 4.5 multiplayer, but kind of less than Fallout 4 because there's no NPCs and there's no dialogue options and all the things that made Fallout 4 okay. Like, Fallout 4 was a great, let's be real, Fallout 4 was mediocre. The Fallouts prior to Fallout 4 were much better because they had much more in-depth RPG mechanics, but they've done away with the RPG mechanics. They've done away with NPCs, which I knew they was going to do, and I was very, very disturbed when I learned that they weren't going to have NPCs in the game. I thought that that would take away a lot from the game and make it very boring in terms of story content, and that is what I felt playing the game. The way the story is told, there are robots that you can interact with. There are also terminals. There are notes. The notes are done really, really bad. They're handwritten, it seems, in game, and there's no text alternative for you to be able to actually read it normally. You have to read the handwritten text in game. I think that's a terrible choice. And also the story is just boring. It's just really, really boring. It's really boring. It didn't grip me. I understand what they were doing. They was trying to create a reason for you to go out and play this multiplayer game, and yeah, they done that, but in terms of story being interesting and making me want to come back and play the game, that is not there. That is not there. The gameplay loop is very boring without a good story that will propel me forward in order to play the game. So I just found myself being super bored and not wanting to play the game anymore. So I did not want to force myself through that in order to create a review just saying that the game is bad. However, in my experience playing the game, it's not as bad as a lot of the content that I was seeing on YouTube when the game was launching. Like, a lot of the content was saying, you know, it's a broken mess, blah blah blah, you know, there's so many bugs, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. Now, keeping in mind I've played for less than 10 hours, so maybe if I played way longer I'd see these bugs, but I didn't see a lot of bugs in my time, not a lot of game breaking bugs anyways. The first time I created a character and went to leave the vault, my save was corrupted because, well, not corrupted, but I was kicked out the server, so that when I came back into the actual game I had to start from the beginning again and create another character. That was very annoying. That lost me about half an hour or something of my time, and that is a bug that needs to be fixed. But where I'm standing right about now is the game looks better than Fallout 4. It doesn't look amazing, but I expected it to look way worse. People were saying it looked like, you know, PS2 graphics and this sort of stuff. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. The gameplay feels like Fallout 4 gameplay in terms of the shooting and that sort of stuff. But if you enjoyed Fallout 4 for just roaming around and exploring and reading stuff and shooting people, and you didn't enjoy getting involved in any of the quests or making any choices or anything like that, then you might enjoy this game. I've played a little bit around with the building stuff, but even that seems very, very grindy. I don't really like what's going on there, and it seems like you got to dedicate a lot of time into the game in order to create a good base or create anything of substance, and I'm not motivated to do that. Where I'm at now with the game is it's mediocre. It's very mediocre at best. It's not a good game. It's not the worst game in the world. The gameplay is okay. It's just boring. It's just hella boring. Like, there's no reason to go forward other than for the sake of it, in my opinion. And the multiplayer aspect doesn't seem to really add a lot to it. I have not had a specific team to play with, so that may make a difference. But it's not a great game. It's not the worst game in the world. It just seems mediocre, and I'm gonna hold off my review until the game gets to a point where I feel it's ready for a review. I feel like the game was rushed. It doesn't have a lot of features that would make it interesting to me at the moment, so I'm hoping that next year they will work on this game and get it to a point where it's ready for me to jump in and review. There was also a lot of coverage on the fact that the price had dropped significantly. I think they like halved the price. It was like $30 or something, and that happened during Black Friday sales, and a lot of other games actually did this as well. I think Battlefield, what is it called? It's not Battlefield 1 this year. Battlefield 5 dropped their price very, very steeply. Hitman 2 dropped their price very, very steeply for Black Friday. But I understand why the people at Fallout 76 would think it's the best decision moving forward, because multiplayer games live and die by the player base. If no one's playing it, then the game will die. So lowering the price to get more people in the ecosystem to just be there playing the game makes a lot of sense to me if you're making a multiplayer game. So I don't see that as, you know, them giving up on the game or anything like that, or feeling like, oh, the game's terrible, let's make it cheaper. Although I do believe the lower price point for where it's at right now is a good move and it's smart. I'm not going to be talking about all the other controversies surrounding Bethesda and what they've done and the choices they've made, because honestly I don't care. All I care about is a good game. Is it a good game? Is it a bad game? And how can I review it and get people to know whether they should buy it or not? And that's where I'm at with the game. It's probably not going to be a main feature on the channel because I just don't enjoy it like that. Like, it doesn't seem like something that I would enjoy a lot. We will see how they change things moving forward. I think it's a bit premature in the life cycle of this game to give a definitive opinion. But if someone was to ask me, should I buy this game? I'd say no. Don't buy it yet. If you're thinking about buying the game, think about buying it when it's finished, when they've patched a bunch of stuff, when they've made the PvP better, when they've, you know, balanced out the systems and everything is working how it needs to be. And if they add NPCs, then probably it should be something to look at. That's if they add NPCs, then I'll be excited to jump back in and see whether it's worth the price or not. And just not having NPCs and the world just being so dead and you just walking around from point to point doing what's basically MMO fetch quests is not entertaining. It's busy work. It's busy work for the sake of busy work. And in this game, doing the busy work just seems to lead to more busy work. If you make the best base in the world and you've got the best weapons in the world, what does that do for you? You can't fight other players. There's nothing really there. Like, it's just busy work to do more busy work. You go and kill enemies to go and kill more enemies, to get better stuff, to go and kill more enemies, to build a better base so that you're better equipped when you go and kill more enemies. It's like there's nothing really holding me there, and it's just killing AI, which gets boring real fast. If I had a team, then maybe it'll be more fun, but also it seems like if you have a team, then it'll be harder to pay attention to the story. So it's like it's all over the place at the moment. It doesn't seem like this game knows exactly what it wants to be, whether it wants to be a game that people can play alone or whether it wants to be a game that people can play together, because it doesn't seem to do either of those very well, and that's a disappointment. Although this is what it seems like, an early access game. It seems like they flung it out the door. They wanted to get some cash in. They wanted to see what people would say and what people would ask for, and they're gonna work on it over like the next year or so. Because if they just leave this to die, then this will be a really bad stain on Bethesda's publishing career. So I think that they'll stick through it and they'll try to make it a good game eventually. It may take a year for that to happen, but or not a good game, but a more focused game. Good is subjective. It may take a while for that to happen, but when that happens, I will be ready to do my review, and I will review the game at that point. There will not be a review while it's in its current state, because it just seems like I'm wasting my time, basically. I'm not gonna like it. I don't enjoy it. And yeah, I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. I don't think it's the worst game in the world. I don't think the gameplay is super bad and all that sort of stuff. I think it's just, you know, it's a mediocre thing. You can fling on a podcast in the background and kind of zone out to playing this, but why wouldn't you just play a better game? Like, there's so many good games that came out this year. It doesn't make sense for you to be playing this. I also want to thank Bethesda for sending me a code. They did send me a code for this, and you know, I appreciate that. I hope me saying that the game's mediocre doesn't hurt our future relationship. I'm a big fan of Bethesda games and the games that they've put out. I reviewed their games in the past, but you know, I gotta be honest. I gotta be real. If this game comes around to where it needs to be, if it's got, you know, better systems in terms of PvP and competitive natures, and there's an actual reason to do things instead of just doing things so that you can continue killing more things, it's like horde mode or something, then when they add good things that make sense and some sort of end game that I'm working towards, or some sort of reason to keep playing the game. Like, usually the reason in a Fallout game would be the story and the choices that you make. You want to see how things play out, so you go through the mediocre combat that they used to have in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. You go through that in order to find out the conclusion to the story beats, to the choices that you've made, because the stories are so interesting. And that's the biggest flaw in this game. The story is so boring. It's like, follow this person for what? to continue following someone else? Like, what? Everyone's gonna be dead. What's the point? What is the point? And that's how I feel about Fallout 76 right about now. Again, I do want to reiterate, I haven't played more than 10 hours, so this is very, very first impressions, but I do believe that the game is hella boring and I don't want to continue playing it, and that's got to speak for something. And yeah, it's not as bad as people want to say it is, but it's just boring, man. It's not a game that you put in your PS4 and it's gonna blow up, which is the way people seem to be talking about it. Like, there was so much video saying this is the worst game ever, Fallout 76 is terrible, blah blah blah. It's just boring, man. It's just boring. It worked most of the time I played it, like the main stuff, like going around shooting and doing that sort of stuff. And the things that didn't work wasn't that much of a pain in the ass, but it's just there's just no point. It's not interesting. So I hope this video helped you out. Hope it gave you some insight into how I'm feeling about Fallout 76, and whether you want to pick the game up yourself. Please don't get it like when this video comes out. If you're gonna get it, wait a few months or see the patch notes. I haven't played it since it was launched. I haven't played it since it was patched because I'm gonna wait a few months to see what's going on. But yeah, if you got any comments about Fallout 76, have you played it? Are you going to get it? Are you thinking about getting it? How have you felt watching all the content surrounding Fallout 76 and all the opinions around it? Because it seems like the loudest voices really are very negative right about now, so it seems like it'll really taint your image of the game. So let me know how you are responding to that in the comment section down below, because I think that will be very, very interesting. And yeah, thanks for watching and liking and subscribing. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long. So all this warmth I share with you.